So I'm going to start off by making the sauce for the unstuffed cabbage meatballs. So in my saute pan, I have about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I shredded up about 5 cups of green cabbage and 1 sized sweet Vidalia onion. That was about a cup. So this is going to cook for about 10, 12 minutes. I want to make sure that I season it up, because while you're cooking, you want to season it every step of the way. So this is just salt and pepper. My cabbage is wilted, a little bit golden brown in spots. Those onions are nice and translucent, easy for me to say. And now we're going to add in the rest of our sauce ingredients. So first up, I have a can of, if you can see that, fire roasted diced tomatoes. These are great tomatoes to use when you cook. They have so much flavor, more than just regular diced tomatoes. So I love adding them to Italian dishes like these, meatballs. They just add a lot of great flavor. So then I'm also going to add some sauce. This is tomato sauce. I'm going to add about 3/4 of the can, because I'm actually going to put some of this into my meatballs. So I'm going to add in that tomato sauce. My recipe usually calls for golden raisins, but I'm out of golden raisins and I'm not going to run to the store for the recipe, so a great substitute is dried cranberries. So I'm adding 1/3 cup of dried cranberries. We got a few more ingredients to put into the sauce. I'm going to add in a squeeze of lemon juice. It's about 1/2 the juice of a lemon. That's a tablespoon or so. And give that a nice stir. And then the last ingredient for the sauce is about 1.5 tablespoons of honey. All right, that's going to add a nice little sweetness that usually is in the sauce of cabbage rolls, stuffed cabbage. It usually has a little bit of a sweetness to it. So now I'm going to season this up again with salt and pepper, like I always do. I am going to bring it to a boil, turn it down to a simmer, and then I'm going to cook it on simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to get my meatballs going. Our sauce is simmering away, so I'm going to start working on the meatballs. We're going to bake these in the oven. I have ground beef and ground turkey. And I'm going to add in the other ingredients, which include 2 eggs that I beat up lightly, that remainder 1/4 can of tomato sauce, more salt and pepper, and I added in some chopped garlic and parsley. Next, I'm going to add in some breadcrumbs. Usually in my recipe, I use seasoned breadcrumbs, but I had some leftover bread, so I just whirled it up in the food processor. So I'm going to add that in. That's about 3/4 cup. And then I have some spices that are going in, paprika, some cloves, and I'm adding a little bit more of onion powder just because I'm not using the seasoned breadcrumbs. So I'm going to add that in. So now I'm going to mix this all up and form it into meatballs and get it on the baking sheet. So I formed all the meatballs. This batch made about 55, I'm lying, it made about 54 meatballs, and I put them on a parchment-lined rimmed baking sheet like this. And now they're gonna bake in the oven for about 20 minutes or so. Just pulled these meatballs out of the oven. You can see a lot of the fat has rendered out of the meatballs. I am now going to pop them into the sauce, and then our dish is ready. Doesn't this just look fabulous, guys? I've got most of the meatballs in there. You can see little flecks of those cranberries, the cabbage, the onions, tomatoes. If you love stuffed cabbage, but you don't like the work of blanching the cabbage leaves and rolling them and stuffing them and then baking them, this is a perfect substitute. So I'm just going to give this a quick little stir. Now this, you could eat this right now if you'd want. It would even be better if you let it simmer for a little bit. Have it for dinner tonight. And you know what? You can pop the rest in the fridge for leftovers for the week, or you can put it in the freezer. And then one night when you're like, oh, crud, what's for dinner? you're gonna be like, ah, yes, I've got that delicious unstuffed cabbage meatball dish in my freezer. So just finish it off with a little parsley. Keep a little fresh parsley on hand. It makes everything look better. And trust me, guys, you're gonna love this one.